What's up, you guys? So I just wanted to do a quick live video. Monique and her son, Monique, Sydney, and her son. Let me correct myself. Monique, Sydney, and her son are going back and forth on social media. So I just wanted to do a quick live video and cover that. It's so much tea that I want to share with you guys, but I don't always get to it because it takes me so long to make my videos. And it's been a long morning already. And so I just wanted to get into the situation with Monique and her son. If you go to Monique's Instagram page, you see that she exposed some text messages between her and her son and Sydney, aka Daddy, husband Daddy. But she didn't mention there in response to her son making another TikTok video. So in this video, we're going to get into her son's video and we're going to get into Monique's response. Now, in my last video, I shared with you all that Sydney said that her son was having mental health issues, that he has some mental health challenges, and it seemed dismissive because he presents Monique as someone that should be heard, which I agree with. When Monique speaks about her experiences with Tyler Perry or Oprah or Lee Daniels, she should be heard. But then when her son speaks out, Sydney paints him as a person who's having mental health challenges. And so her son spoke about that in this video that he posted, this new video that he posted to TikTok. And you guys, if you can hear it, put a 1 in the chat.
Hi, I am Shalon. I am a stand-up comedian, Monique's oldest son.
All right, so if y'all can hear it, put a 1 in the chat. What's up? Make it make sense. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Mims. Happy Valentine's Day. Actually, let me refresh this because it went to his next video. Yeah, this one with the blue background.
So I'm just going to get straight to it. Hi, I'm Shalon. So I find it unique that my video was in response to my mother and not her husband, but yet he still had the most to say, which isn't uncommon. I also find it unfortunate that my mother does not seem to speak on her own. The only two worlds that I know where daddy is used is for children speaking with their fathers and women acknowledging their pimps. Her husband starts off by literally doing the very thing that I said that they would do, which honestly kind of made me feel as though their response was ironic because they validate my original video. Either A, she has some newfound moment of clarity, or B, she retreats back to daddy. In her retreat back to him, though, he does not acknowledge what I did say, but instead begins to create a new narrative of things that I did not say, which negates the effects of a response video. The two of you essentially created a new video rather than actually respond to what was actually said. You also brought up my father. My father, though, is not doing interviews talking about me. In quick regards to the three sons comment, under the context in which your husband was speaking, by your rationale, Ma, he should have easily had no problem saying 4 sons, especially since you say he knew me before I knew me. The two of you can sometimes come off as seekers of weak levels of empathy from others, while at the same time sidestepping any accountability that one may need to take. To attempt to address what I said to another man while also trying to make your wife victim number 1 has nothing to do with you. My father did not need you to speak for him. You're her daddy, not his. My mother has been speaking on our relationship for years. So to imply that only one side of a story was told when there are several articles and interviews throughout the internet discussing my strained relationship with her, filled with quotes from your wife speaking directly about me, while also providing vague context and downplaying the impact of an uninterested mother. I am 33 years old and have had ample opportunity to go to the media and tell some BS story for a BS amount of money, but instead I am on TikTok expressing my feelings for free. If the two of them were paying attention, I literally explained in my first video why I am responding using TikTok. And I should not have to repeat myself. My mother also states there are some people that are saying, oh, you should be ashamed of your mothering skills. You should be ashamed of yourself. This is what I say. Let's let in ones that were saying, oh, I was crazy. I was deranged. We watched it play out. So just like with my son, we're going to watch this play out. First of all, who the hell is we if it ain't you and I reconciling our relationship? Second of all, it's power in a word. Nobody is playing, but I can understand why you would use that word specifically. As you stated in the Club Shay Shay interview, you had the mentality of a 15-year-old child. You required a man to raise you, and you were acting like a little girl. These are your words. It doesn't matter what context I have them in. This is how you thought of yourself as a grown adult who was someone's mother. Last time I checked, Monique fans, a 15-year-old grown adult who acts like a child but is in search of their daddy, they don't typically make efficient parents. But hey, I could be wrong. On a more serious note, to sit there and allow your daddy to address my mental health in a weak attempt to pass my response off as a moment is disturbing and insulting to those of us who do have mental health issues. The way I presented myself was no different than my mother and her daddy presented themselves when addressing D.L. Hughley. And her precious sweet babies ate it up. DL is wrong because he's so loud. Mo and Daddy are right because they're so calm. But I, for some reason, don't get the same energy. To simply try to call me crazy is dismissive and cowardice. Attacking somebody's mental status is a clear sign that you have zero to stand on. Furthermore, what kind of person still has a text message from their wife's son that is over 2 years old, still in their phone, saved just for the purpose of re-showing it to him? What I specifically remember about that message is that at the end of it, you said something along the lines of, if you don't respond, I understand. I could care less about what your message was about, but for you to say in the message, if you don't respond, I understand, why was it then that when you and I did speak, after that message was sent, the first question out of your mouth is, hey man, how come you didn't respond to my text message? I found that to be very unique, but I did not need an explanation on how to speak to women or how to listen to women. That was not what that situation was about. My mother showed me how conceited she is in that situation that you were referring to. For a woman to villainize the actions of her son for being a man and a father to his new family simply because she had not heard from him in 2 days, as though her phone was broken and she could not check on me. Because last time I checked, I was a new parent. I didn't get a new house. I didn't go on vacation. I didn't just get a new game system. I had a baby. And in those 2 days that you did not hear from me, I was handling my business as a man and a father. But I'll assume your phone and the phones of those around you were all broken, which I wanted to believe was the reason why you did not respond to a message from your son expressing his concern over some bumps that your grandchild had on her back. You would later make it your business to tell me that you got the message and chose not to respond because her other grandmother is a nurse. Damn the fact that she is also your blood. And shout out to Nana. My baby girl loves her some Nana. The statement about money and then stating, don't let nobody introduce me to you, is not a competent statement to make because it wasn't a complete sentence, nor did the two things correlate with each other. And when did you have the time to introduce yourself to a son that you weren't interested in and didn't do the best job you could do? I'm starting to think that you're not hearing yourself. To address money, you gave me $10,000 for a down payment on a car. Yes, thank you again. Thank you. My girlfriend and I were already prepared to put our money together and get a car. You and your husband called us one day and stated that y'all were going to give us $5,000 for a down payment. We said, okay. You then called us back a day or two later and stated that you would be giving us $10,000 for a down payment on the car. You and him made the conscious choice to give us that money. We did not ask you for anything, but this is an example of a rich person doing something for you. And because this is, an example of a rich person doing something for you because they want to do it for you, but because it doesn't have the desired effect that they want it to have, you are inconsiderate and ungrateful. But let's take it a step further. I eventually would uncover that my mother had left me a UTMA worth $45,000. You never brought that account to my attention. You claim it was because you forgot that you even set it up in the first place, which validates my original point. Who forgets that they invested $45,000 into a child that at that time is the only child? When I was homeless and I called you to help me figure out how to access the account, you said, Shalon, I don't even know what you're talking about. And if I did, why do you think I would help you? After finding out from the Georgia Department of Revenue that they had been sending me mail to 3 separate Georgia addresses, all of which I lived at with you at some point or another. For the life of me, I can't grasp how those letters managed to slip by so many people at 3 different locations. I did, however, eventually get access to the money and the brokerage account that you had set up for me with Morgan Stanley. To be fair, what you put together for me was amazing, especially had I let it sit for a year or two, which made it bittersweet that you wouldn't have wanted to help or even educate me on how to manage what I had. My blowing through that money is all on me. and I have to take my accountability for that, and it's a lesson learned. Sydney stated that the last time that him and I spoke, I wanted to call him Dad. The actual truth is that I wanted to call him Pop. Calling you Uncle Sydney, but my mother calls you Daddy, and the boys call you Daddy. It was getting a little awkward. And yes, for a very short time, I did feel that way about you, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. Oh, Black Jesus. mm. I do just want to really quickly give a really, really big thank you to the support that I've received throughout this. I definitely, I didn't think that that was something that was going to happen. I didn't make that video to have a tennis match with my mother. I do not plan on making any more videos. This is it. I've said what I wanted to say. To me, if you're not going to acknowledge, you've already shown me that you don't care enough to acknowledge what I did say. So I definitely don't have the expectation that you're going to acknowledge now what I'm saying. So it is what it is. But once again, I want to say thank you again, man. That day that before I posted that original video, I went to sleep with 25 followers that I probably could name all. I could probably name all 25 of those people. I think I have over like 12,000 followers now. That's really cool, man. I really appreciate that. But I just can't say thank you enough. I know I sound like a broken record, but I do appreciate the love, and best of luck to my mother and Sydney. And I hope that the Cat Williams tour is incredible. I really, really do. But when it comes to me, I am going to enjoy being a dad and being a man and just going through life, man. I don't want to be famous or notorious for being someone's neglected kid. I don't want that to be my story. And I only said what I said just to provide context, not to become anything. But y'all be safe, man. Peace. Hi. I am.
All right, you guys. So that was a lot. That was a lot. I feel like I'm gonna have to watch it a few times to really get through it. But he said a lot that I expected him to say, because he said in his first video that Monique always has to consult Daddy to see what to say to him. And then you saw when she got on the video, she had Daddy sitting there, and Daddy was speaking for her. She spoke very little in that video. But he said that Daddy makes Monique a victim. Like, she's a victim of these Hollywood executives like Oprah and Tyler Perry. But he's basically saying that in a way he was a victim of her neglectful parenting and it's not being acknowledged. Now, he also mentioned that he had a baby. And I've seen sometimes when people have babies and they have rough relationships with their own parents, all hell could break loose. And I'm going to show you these text messages because it has to do with him having a baby. And it does seem like all hell broke loose when he had a baby. But first of all, what's up, Ty? Ty is in the building. She said Monique is doing everything to her son that all those industry people did to her. Her actions are abusive, dismissive, and disgusting. I agree. I agree. And so let me share with you the text messages that she posted to her page. All right, you guys. So these are texts. First, they're texts between her and her son, which I really can't believe she's posted text messages between her and her son, but she's posted them for the community. And then the text messages switched to her son and Sydney. So it starts off, "Hey baby, just checking on you. Hey baby, just checking on you. Hey," and then he says, "Hey man, good morning." Now this is probably like 3 weeks later. He says, "Hey man, good morning." And she says, "Hey, baby, did you mean to send this to me? LOL, man." And he said, "Hey, Ma, good morning. My phone autocorrected Ma and put man, LOL." And she said, "LOL, that damn autocorrect." And then it looks like he sent her an image of something, an image or a video. And she said, "Hey, now I see you." Now, this is back in 2021. These messages are all from 2021. So a week later, she says, "Hey, baby, you good? I will call you tomorrow. I'm going to bed. LOL, your mama getting older." And he said, "LOL, love y'all." And then a few days later, she says, "Hey, sweetness, I hit you later tonight." He says, "Okay." And then a few days later, "Hey, my baby, I'm going to call you when you get back home. We out with somebody. Talk to you tomorrow." And then he says, "Hey, mommy, I wanted to send Tough." There's somebody named that they call Tough or Tuffy in these texts. He says, I wanted to send Tough some flowers and stuff just because. Can you help me pick some stuff out? Because I have no idea what I'm doing. And she says, hey, my baby, of course I will. Give me a couple hours to call. And he says, hey, Ma, have ever heard of hyperhidrosis? It's an excessive sweating disorder. It's very serious. I'm familiar with it. And she said, hey, my baby, no, I've never heard of that. I will research it. And then a few days later, she says, hey, my baby, sorry I missed your call. Can we talk tomorrow? Call me when you go on break if you can. Love you. And then he sends a picture of himself. He's very handsome. It's a picture of himself in his bathroom, I assume. And it looks like he has a very regular home. And if you guys caught it in his video that he made, the second video on TikTok, he said that he was homeless at one point. And it's kind of interesting that the son of someone as big as Monique would be homeless. But now it appears he lives in a very regular home. And she said, yes, you look so handsome. And she said, you better say that shit. Let me know when your break starts. And she says, hey, my baby, how are you today? And he said, I'm okay. Been overwhelmed these past couple days, working through it by talking with Nicole. And Nicole seems to be his girlfriend. He said, this hasn't been the best sales week so far, and I've been feeling more anxious about it than usual. Nicole has been helping me chill out, though sometimes she's the reason for the stress. So apparently he works in sales, and he's financially stressed because he's not making sales, which is also interesting to me, being that his mother is Monique, and she's very successful. Not that he shouldn't have a job. He should definitely have a job, but for him to be financially stressed is interesting to me. So she responds, hey, my baby, let's talk when you get off. And he says, can I call you in 30 minutes? And she says, can you give me an hour? And he says, that's cool. And so the next day she says, hey, my baby, you up? And then the next month, like a few weeks later, she says, hey, my baby, please know you still sleep. However, when you wake up, I want you to have an awesome day. And he said, yes, ma'am. How y'all doing this morning? She said, amazing. And he said, my appointment with the DMV is on May 7th, so I can start this process for my license, because apparently he didn't have a license, and you'll see that they helped him get a car. He says, I have 3. Now, this is the thing. This is his credit. And so Monique is posting him talking about his credit for the public to consume. He said, I have 3 derogatory strikes on my credit. I will clear up 2 of them at the end of the week. Just telling you my to-do list, LOL. So I bet when he wrote that, he never thought his mother would expose that. She says, I know you will get it done. Let's go. And then she says something, they're talking about something. And she says, Jamaica, how y'all doing? He said, we're doing good, cooking a late dinner, salmon, salad, and rice. The doctor's appointment went well. We met one of the midwives. And she says, oh, wonderful, my baby. Did y'all hear my baby's heartbeat again? Because his girlfriend is pregnant. And she says, remember Jamaica. And I think Jamaica's a person. And he says, yes, ma'am. Of course I remember Mr. Jamaica. How is he doing? And the baby's heartbeat is strong. We forgot to ask the beats per minute. And she says, he is doing good. Still look the same, just got older. It's been 15 years since I've seen him. Is Nicole getting big? And he says, our next appointment is on June 11th for an ultrasound. Now, this is still 2021. And then it looks like they got into these memojis. So they're joking about the memojis. Okay. And then she says something about being done with the interview. And he says, okay, this is October 2021. She said, that's your mama. And he said, hey, mommy, are you awake? Hey, mommy, how are your eyes feeling? And she says, hey, sweet baby, I haven't forgot. I'm just trying to get myself together. So I don't know if she had a problem with her eyes. And then she says, hey, sweet baby, I will call you after we speak with Tamika and Thomas and her father. We'll talk to them at 7 p.m. this evening. We got y'all back, you and Nicole. Now, it appears this is when they're giving them some money. And there must be phone calls in between, because this is when it goes south. This is when it goes south. This text message right here is Sydney. This long text message. The sweet text messages, the short and sweet ones, were Monique, but this long one is Sydney. And Sydney says, remember today. And this is Uncle Sid. Now, if you recall, Sydney doesn't allow him to call him daddy or pop. He said he wanted to call him pop because everybody else in the family called him daddy, but he won't let him even call him pop because he said he knows his father. So he calls him uncle. He said, "This is Uncle Sid. If you don't change your immature ways, you're going to lose, my man. We can't be mad at you, but we're definitely sad for you. How do you go from putting your mother on hold when generations of family are able to see Sanaa on the cold side, but you gave no instructions to Tuffy or your mother as to when they would or could be able to see Sanaa until after Tuffy brought this fact to your attention?" And this is why I say when he had a baby, it seemed like all hell broke loose, because they are basically getting on him for him not telling them, what to do to see his baby. I don't know if this is a boy or a girl, but it seems like they want him to reach out to them and tell them how to see the baby. And he feels like that as the grandparents, they should reach out to him. So Sydney says, "Interestingly, you're a man now, but you were a little boy just days ago when you needed me to walk you through getting a car. The items for the baby you wouldn't even have if your mother Tuffy and I didn't care enough to do that for you and Sanaa." So basically, Sydney is bringing up money and saying that you wouldn't have all this stuff for the baby. Like, we bought all this stuff for the baby and you wouldn't have it if we didn't buy it. I don't know how true that is, but that's what he's saying. So it's like he's throwing money in his face. And Sydney said, "You need to be rescued from your apartment weeks ago by Tuffy, but you cussed her out days ago. What's wrong?" And so Monique said in the caption, "Hey, my sweet babies, here are the receipts from a mother who allegedly does not love her son. We are sharing this with you, Shalon, and the community. Some will completely get it, and others will not." I'm part of the other. I'm part of the other that doesn't get it. I just don't get it. But you guys leave a comment and let me know what you think. Too Adorable said, "Why are people shocked? It's so common in the Black community, especially with the older generation." I don't know if you mean shocked about them putting out the text messages. I don't know exactly what you mean. Make it make sense. I think Tough is Monique's assistant slash his aunt. Okay, maybe so. That makes sense. But you guys, to me, it's all a mess for them. First of all, like I said, I think it's okay for her to go back and forth with DL Hughley and other people like that in the industry. But for them to go back and forth with Monique's son, I think it's a mess. Exposing Monique's son's text messages where he's talking about his personal information, like his baby, his credit report, his money, things like that. I just think it's too much. I just think it's too much. But y'all, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. This was 22 minutes. This was much faster than it normally takes for me to record videos. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys soon.